Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a lovely Friday night. We're going to run some Amaterasu's Ranked League. I am SunriseSamuraii, joined by my co-cast,
Tikidooo.
and we have the lovely Wolfie as our camera person tonight. Right now, this is going to be our higher ranked queues. We have some Celestial on Celestial action going on. Tiki, how you liking the look of the team so far?
They look pretty balanced. We have some pretty good player like Josh from Asia, Glubtubus, Malcastor, Chubby Ostrich, Scream, Georgie. It's looking pretty good.
We should see some very interesting matchups between some of these roles right now. King Koopa coming off of a pretty hard defeat, so I think he's gonna want to swing pretty hard in the other direction this game.
I'll wish him good luck.
Yeah. So as we first looking at our first picks and bans, how you liking these bans from each team?
We have some pretty general bands. It's looking pretty good. We just gotta have to look how it evolves.
The first pick, Freya, is a strong pick. She was first banned last Celestial game because they were afraid of SunriseSamuraii on the carry, and they let it through this time. So clearly something that the Chaos side is not afraid of.
I would be afraid of the Sunrise Samurai on the Freya.
Yeah, most people are, but they're willing to let it go through this game. So we'll see how the counter picks end up on this side. Right now we have a Daji locked in for the Chaos side, or just hovered for now. A nice little Freya counter, as long as you can make sure she misses that 3 out, you can run her down pretty strongly.
I believe that might be a Daji solo.
Daji solo. Morg was talking about busting it out.
Yeah, he
We'll,
likes it.
it is the Morg versus King Koopa in the solo lane, so I expect some spicy picks from both of them.
This is gonna be really spicy. They're both pretty good players in solo lane.
Yeah, nothing crazy from the bans. Order side got rid of the Sun Wukong, got rid of the Kali, the Ganesh. A lot of just safe picks.
Yeah, I mean Sun Wukong is probably the safest pick you can have in solo lane, so I get the ban.
This mid matchup is going to be where I think the real spice is going to come from.
But who's playing against who?
We have mid, we have Night Canter versus, I believe, Scream. We had a little bit of roster mixes up today, so we'll see how this actually lands out in the end.
All right, that sounds interesting.
So far, the Danzabura into the Freya matchup. Real smart play from Josh from Asia's part. He wants to be able to drop down that 2, taunt away the Freya basics. Freya's one of those where if you can just displace 1 or 2 of her basics, that takes away a lot of her damage potential.
At we're gonna see how good he's gonna be able at taunting the Freya.
And the Hebo lock in for the order side. We have some heavy magic damage coming out right now. Gonna be very interesting to see where that Hebo goes. It's a big flex pick, especially for a lot of the players. Ooh, and the X Ball lock in. I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting that either. It's probably a Freya mid.
So far, most of their team, with the exception of the X Ball, can be flexed a little bit. We seen some weird pickups from the Freya jungle to the Hebo jungle. Either of them can run mid. I think the bans are really going to see where things are going to lie on this one.
Yeah. If I was Chaos, I would love a Nike on my team with 2 hunters, well, 2 ADC.
Yeah, we'll see where the support ends up going. We can see the order side has a lot of options to supplement those basic attacks and that heavy damage pick. You can see a Fafnir coming up. And a Vulcan mid pick on the Chaos side. So far, these are some very, very off meta picks, and I love to see it.
Well, more on the Chaos side. On Order side, it's pretty meta.
Well, pretty meta with the exception of the 3 staunch backline pickups right now. I'm going to guess that this is going to be a Hebo jungle. You never know. It is on King Koopa right now. If he brings that into the solo lane versus the Daji, it'll be a very entertaining matchup.
It will be.
So we're looking at our bans. We have an Achilles ban. Chaos side showing that they don't think that that Hebo is going into the solo lane. We'll see who ends up looking like the smarter team in the end.
Could be a waste of ban.
Could be a wasted ban. Right now they don't have a lot of front lines, so you never know. Even if that is a Hebo solo, couldn't always necessarily be an Achilles in the jungle. Try and give them a little bit more of that tanky factor. An Ares ban. Even though they're sitting at 2 out of 3 CC immune alts, they decide to opt for the Ares ban. I know that's one of Scream's big picks, so mainly he probably just didn't want to deal with it on the other side.
That could be a good reason.
And the Emoja ban from the Order side. So far, they have their very non-mobile backliners. They wanted to take away as much zone control from the enemy team as they could. Terra ban is real big there.
They're taking a lot of support. There's 3 support ban. It's only a few picks that
Yeah.
are actually pretty good. Might
Three real zone heavy supports. They want to make sure the backline can move around as free as possible. And now the Thanatos pickup, so you're right. I think that is going to be a dodgy solo pick.
seems like it'll be. I would love to see a Nike support, but
You as the resident king solo laner in the league right now, how are you liking a dodgy solo pick?
I like it. It's original, but there's like so many good and better pick right here. We're gonna see the Kin Archer.
Ooh, and there you go, the
Ooh,
Nike. They decided to take it away from the enemy team. You said you
that
wanted
is
to see it on the chaos side. Order picked it up instead.
that is gonna make it the game way more difficult for that Denza Burrow, and she's probably gonna bully the dodging lane.
Yeah, Nike versus Dodgy and Lane. I think that's going to be a rough one for Morgan to come out from because the zoning ability from the Nike. No CC immunity, so she is susceptible to that ult. But
She
I
has
think in the
a
end,
CC immunity on the Holt when she casts it.
you're absolutely correct. That very brief window when she's casting it, that's going to be some phenomenal timing on Chubby's part if that's what he's going for to CC immune the Dodgy ult.
It's gonna be the
Scream
King
doing
Koopa though.
the King Koopa solo. Scream did a
Yeah,
long hover over the Ymir, decided he wanted to go something a little safer for his team. He goes the Geb.
I don't think Gab is quite the pick here.
No, I think he definitely needed a little bit more zoning. The Ymir would have been a phenomenal pick, considering how immobile a vast majority of the order side is. But he sees his team. He sees his team as a lot of W key players. He wanted to go something a little more safe, give a shield here and there. Unfortunately, when you look at the massive amount of damage on the order side, that shield isn't going to last very long.
It's massive amount of damage on both sides actually. The Gab engage with the hold. Daji can make these engagements really efficient.
Yeah, so looking at these two teams, who do you think is going to be our difference makers?
I'm gonna have to go with other side. I think
You
the
think Order
double
side's
A
going to take this away?
I think the double ADC are gonna frag on these objectives.
Now, if there's any chance of counterplay from the Chaos side, where do you think it's going to come from?
I think it's gonna come from how good the engagement from the Daji and Gab are gonna be. How good
You're
is they're
put
gonna be
you're
able to burn up the beads and stuff.
you're putting the Chaos side's success on the Daji and the Geb pick. I like it. I'm looking forward to see it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our 9:30 Celestial game. See how this comes down. Just a brief period. Yeah, just a brief period of setup right now for the moment as people are loading in.
So if you had to give an edge to one team, what team you would go for?
I gotta agree with you. There's just way too much damage sitting on that order side. With the ability of the zoning between the Sobek, the Nike, they're giving their team a lot of freedom in that back to do what they want. Now they have the Thanatos, they have the Daji on the other side to try and get in that backline as much as possible, but with the ability from the Nike and the Sobek to kind of play through their lines and let's be honest, not really die, stay as safe as possible. I don't see a huge win condition coming out here for the Chaos side. I think that this is going to rely heavily on the jungle coming out strong early. I want to see this Thanatos get in there, get early kills, be ulting, be blinking. I think we're gonna I think we're gonna learn a lot about how the direction of this game is gonna go by the relic pickup from the Thanatos. If he goes
I,
blink, I give him a big chance. If we see a beads coming out of him, I don't know. I'm a little hesitant.
if if he wants to win this game, the Thanatos is gonna have to come up really hard early game. so he gets better in that later game.
Yeah, so far, if we're looking at the builds, he's going to the T1 of the Golden Blade, the weakened flavor of the week build. Um, we've seen it not be successful recently, or we've seen it absolutely pop off. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he goes. And he does pick up the blink, so my faith is restored in this Thanatos jungle pick.
So we're just gonna have to see. I don't know how good is that Thanatos kill potential. I don't know if he when he holds, if Shibalanke hold actually blinds him.
When he ults, he is unable to see the actual player health bars, but he still has vision over it himself when he's in the air. So as our resident soul lane expert, I'm going to keep throwing it to you in that respect. How are you liking these builds from these two players right now?
It's a mirror build.
Yeah, they're going for that Frostbound rush, both Bluestone. Who do you give the edge to in that lane clear department between the two?
It's gonna have to be Nike. She'll just want the wave, and Daji has to take a lot of time to hold it or use R2.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality here is the Daji is very basic attack based. The one at the end of it has that disarm that kind of shuts her down. The two from the Nike is that great zoning ability. So she's going to rely a lot on that Daji too for this lane clear. They're doing a very interesting start in the carries for the order side. They're going for the three-man grouping between the Sobek Freya, not traditionally the lane that you would give this big lane clear edge to, but they actually clear it pretty successfully.
They have
They're looking
Freya
to,
with the Soul Gem.
yeah, Freya with the Soul Gem does give them the Conduit Gem, does give them that
Yep.
little bit of a push there, but they do end up meeting in the lane at the same amount of time. Health bar is looking relatively the same. Now we have an X ball in mid on the order side. How you feeling about that?
Um, it's a lot of pressure coming out of mid. I think once he gets a Transcendence stacks, if he's going for it, easy. Yeah, he's going for Transcendence. When he gets the stack, he's gonna do a lot of damage. He's gonna rotate in these fights and hopefully be useful.
So far, I'm loving the solo lane fight. We have some big damage out on the both of them. That lane clear just barely edged out on the Nike side, exactly like you were saying. Nike's trying to one through the wave, gets the disarm off. She twos. Is Moore going to be able to get out? That
And
Bluestone's ticking. Ooh, and she's able to make it out. Both of them are sitting at 1 HP. The first Tiki is going to go towards the order side. And Ji goes for the early back. How do you feel about that?
well, he was out of pushing, so I get it. You could
Yeah,
never come back
out
to
of
the
pot,
flip.
she backs. She picks up the 3K. Unfortunately, she does waste that teleport early, so she's looking at a 230-second cooldown timer on that. So
She's
now she's
gonna
gonna have to play this a little more cautiously. But Nike does exactly the same.
goes for the T2 Frostbound though.
Yeah, it doesn't pick up those health bots. She's so far King Koopa's showing that he's got a little bit of confidence that Daji is not gonna be able to poke him out. He didn't need that health for early game.
It feels like I've shown how to play solo lane kind of well. We see Frostbound on the two player, which is something I've kind of bring there.
You're certainly shaping the builds of these solo laners as our resident first in class solo laner on the desk today.
Sadly, I believe that on Nike, Breastplate of Valor is just way better.
Nike is sitting lower, but she's still going at him, still making sure she's putting that pressure to Morg just because she knows she has that lane clear ability.
You might
As
actually.
these two match up, I want to see Morg put that pressure. Look at that low health. She does have the dodgy 3, although the 2 can zone her. She does have the health advantage, being able to back and pick up that health bot. And
This
she goes
arm
in
is
with the
going
3.
pretty
She gets the
big.
2, and she's able to get out. Unfortunately, the Thanatos gank.
Tana is gonna blink for the
Oh, and Thana blinks
first
under the
block.
tower and is able to get a kill and walk out. First blood goes to Thanatos on the Chaos side. That's exactly what I wanted to see from the Thanatos.
So, as much as I give the edge to Nike on this lane, now this is gonna be looking bad. Steepy is still down for 130 seconds. He's gonna be lower level than Dadaji. He doesn't have beads, so he's really gankable.
Yeah, you can see him regret his decision. He now on the second back picks up the health pot because he just noticed that the Daji having that little bit of sustain over him was going to kill him in lane. But now he does have the item advantage, regardless of not having his ult yet. He does have the T2 of the Frostbound. Now he has the health. Hopefully, I want to see him stick it to Daji a little bit here. He's able to secure his own blue, so not a big loss for him in that department.
Thanatos
On
did
the
pick up the first blood though, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's big. That's big gold towards Thanatos. Now we have a fight in the duo lane. Geb tries to roll out. Unfortunately, puts himself into precarious of a situation. Ooh, and another kill in the mid lane. Order side is turning this around, but Thanatos ult in on Sobek, and it doesn't amount to a lot.
Yeah. I know
Thanatos is
what.
trying to make sure that he owns that pressure on the map.
The Denza hole kind of did not go the right way, I think.
No, the Geb tried to put a little bit of pressure and keep them off of that shield buff. Unfortunately, didn't work out for him in the end. Hebo able to pick up a kill in the mid lane off camera. Hebo now is stacking that Book of Thoth, so that gold went a large way for him so he can start these stacks as early as possible.
Definitely.
Ooh,
We
and
got it
King Koopa picks up a
solo.
tower dive solo kill. He is low. Thanatos is on his way in. Thanatos is creeping around the backside. Let's see if he's able to pick up this kill. Nike already wasted her 2 to try and clear the wave. She is just buying cooldowns for that 3 right now. But a big 1, and she's able to push him off of him and stay alive. Unfortunately, she doesn't get the kill, but she shows this Thanatos that, hey, maybe I'm not the good person to be picking on right now.
Yeah, that sets the tone.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of setting the tone. You as a soul laner especially know that you got to let certain people know that I'm not the one to be messed with. So hopefully this Thanatos starts to see if he can find success elsewhere.
I know he's gonna have to, because this Nike is wild.
Yeah, so far both of them have the Frostbound up. They're pretty neck and neck as far as gold's concerned, regardless of that first blood going Daji's way. Both have Frostbound up.
Yeah. Again, I think the Frostbound is favorable more for the Daji than the Nike.
Yeah, as far as the
But
late game is concerned, we're looking at Order side setting themselves up for a little bit of early game success. They do have the slightest little 300 gold lead as Thanatos tries to gank in on duo lane. Unfortunately, Donza Burrow wasn't on the same page, so Thany's trying to go in this solo, misses a scythe, backs off. Donza just wanted his purple, didn't really want to fight there.
so Tana's not been able to find a successful gank after that first kill, and he's now sitting at 2 levels behind that other jungler. As we see a gank from the mid.
But the gank from the Vulcan onto the Daji, and King
And he's
Koopa is
gonna
able to pull off a counter kill. 2v1, King Koopa takes it. This is really, ooh, and Vulcan unfortunately misses the 1. This is pretty big on Sinatra to try and get a kill on this Vulcan here. Unfortunately, the juke boots on King Koopa were not good enough, and Vulcan is able to kick up a kill for the
They're
second
gonna
kill of the Order
pick up
side.
Wolfie though. We
Order
see the
side is
Geb.
going for a sneak, but Geb is coming in. Geb blinks
And
3. Geb steals it with the blink. Geb does not mind taking the L here. He takes that Gold Fury with a huge blink ult.
no, he didn't steal it. He didn't steal it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That
Oh,
went to the Order side. That was King Koopa's
yep.
team. I was looking at Scream, thinking that was Koopa.
You unfortunately Nike kind of ended around way too long in that fight, and then Geb dies for the 3rd time in this match. Starting to look rough for him.
Yeah, Scream is one of those people that I've touted as one of the best supports in the league. We're not sitting at a lot of support mains, but I've seen a lot of Scream's Ares. He plays a Baron. He plays a lot of these great aggressive picks there, and that's where you saw him try and pull off the same kind of motion.
I
Sobek gets a
remember
pluck
the
on
Baron.
to Thanatos. The Geb shield comes through. The damage doesn't really mean much in the end right there in that mid lane fight.
So we're sitting at about a 1500 kill lead. 1500 to simply in gold.
Yeah, Order side definitely looking a little bit better right now. Like you said, a lot of those stacking items are coming online. We have the Book of Thoth on the Hebo. We have the Trans in the mid. The Sobek is going to find a little bit of a struggle to build those prophetic stacks, but he is going the better late game build over the early gauntlet from the Geb.
That is totally fine. They have a pretty similar Harley actually.
Yeah, well, Sobek right now is sitting at 2 kills, 1 assist with the massive support swing on that side. Freya smells out the gank a little bit early. She does have
And
the
you can
Sobek here to
see
help her.
the from the Sobek as well.
Danzaburo is going to try and ult and get out. Danza gets a clean ult out with that left swing. But Hebo is still creeping around, see what he can make happen. Hebo on the Geb right now, putting in some good damage. Has Geb about 3/4 health. He's still going to rush this down. This is going to more amount to more of a purple steal than any kind of pickup kills.
And Josh is then gonna end up securing a purple buff.
Yeah, Josh's a phenomenal carry. He's going for the double stack, which is very interesting. That's either going to be a trans or a dominance, so we'll see how he ends up taking this. It is a Freya. He does want to have that big damage with the ability to box her out. So we'll see where that build ends up leading him. Right now, Thanatos trying to get aggressive in the jungle. He hits a 3 onto the X-Ball. X-Ball is going to stick around and fight. He gets the damage off from his 3. Vulcan rotates in. And a rotation from King
Rotation.
Koopa. He's hitting those
He's
one,
gonna
and he
find the
does not
kill.
get the ult off in time. So that is a first death for the Thanatos, and the 7th kill for the Order side. Sobek trying to be aggressive in the middle. Night Cantor still sticking it around, getting those X-Ball 2s out. Big damage, trying to get that passive stacked up. He's already at 4k, so he's got 2
We
stacks going.
fight in dual lane, which is going Josh way, but Castor's gonna be able to get out of it.
Yeah, Josh kind of knows that that late game, these fights aren't going to favor him as much, so he's putting as much pressure onto this early game Freya as he possibly can.
He's gonna have the hold. He's gonna go for the tower dive.
Ooh, and a well-timed Freya ult to stop it.
Also, as we get into 10 minutes, we're kind of seeing what the game is going on, and have any idea on how this game is going to continue going?
Well, that gold lead is just creeping slightly more ahead as time goes. It was a 1k when we checked in last. Now we're sitting at 12k. Order side definitely seems to have a lot more control of this game. I want to see this Thanatos get a little more aggressive and start putting it into them in their jungle. He hits a 1. He pushes them. At least right now, the Thanatos is making sure that he's around for his own team's buff spawns, keeping them off of the buff. Vulcan with an ult in the middle hits Night Cantor, gets him down to about a 1/4 HP. Unfortunately, there's no follow-up. Sobek comes in for a great pluck. Is able to pull him back, get Blink ult. Unfortunately, none of those come out to anything, but Hebo is still creeping around that right side jungle.
Thanatos. And he's
Oh,
gonna
and the
take
Blink
a kill the
Thanatos.
same way he did on the first blood.
Yeah, Jordeezy is showing that he's very familiar with those Blink plays.
Oh,
We have
he's
Hebo
like
creeping around the back of the T1 on solo side. He is able to get a free kill on that. Very smart positioning. But Chaos side is going for a sneaky Gold Fury play right now. I don't think anybody on the Order side is aware. And I think they're going to take this one free.
So, gold lead is back to even.
Yeah, that was a huge Gold Fury play call on the Chaos side. They recognized the fact that they saw the Dodgy over in the Soul lane. And the Freya goes into the ult. Oh, Thanatos ult on her. Freya tried to turn around a 2v1 kill. Unfortunately, falls herself.
That was
But
a big stunt from the Denzaburo. The taunt was massive here, keeping them Freddy on spot.
yeah, Josh from Asia recognizes that his health is low. He was going to turn around and lose a little bit of that fight with that Freya ult. Drops a 2, gets out. Trusted the rest of his team to pick up that kill.
So, we're looking at these builds. Anything you want to point out?
The Danzabura chooses to not finish his dominance at this time and picks up a Griffin Wing. He shows that he's really, really into the boxing this Freya as it is early game. He wants to throw the slightest bit of confusion into the mix there. That Griffin Wing, the kind of auto tracking that it gives you, the ability to kind of throw your opponent off because you're not used to that cadence of basic attacks coming in, could mean dividends for him. So far, he is putting a little bit of pressure on that duo lane. I love to see the build. As we look over to the support builds, I'm not a huge fan of that prophetic second item on the Geb, just because he's Geb, he stacks it so well. He could have already been done with it if he had went at first item, but he chose to go for the HP 5. Sobek pulls a pluck on Geb in mid lane. Geb shields doesn't amount to much, unfortunately. We see a lot of people measuring around mid lane right now. Vulcan a little bit out of place, tried to get a sneaky kill. Unfortunately, the beads are out from the pluck from Sobek. He's still moving. Hebo's dashing down on him. Hebo all down. AG's Alt, Geb shield, and Vulcan's able to make it out with his life.
We have the Thanatos ult, I believe.
Thanatos ult into mid, picks up Night Canter. Thanatos loves these tower dives, and I love to see him. Daji tower dives as well.
Daji
Alt.
misses all
Missed
three
or
of them,
not, she got the beads out of the Hebo.
unfortunately. And as we
Ooh, and
see
on
the
the other side,
solo
Josh
kill,
from Asia putting those Griffin wings to good use and picking up a kill. And Thanatos picks up a kill on that Hebo, beads being down. That was a 3 for none. Chaos side coming back into this game and taking a 2k gold lead off of that massive mid lane fight.
yeah, as we can see, Thanatos starting to be pretty massive with that 5-1. He had a bit of struggle in the early game, but as he get the Hydras in, he's able to get these kills really easily.
How are you liking the build from the Daji? She goes that second item fair next. What are you thinking about that?
I think he liked what I built.
Everybody's copying Tiki.
I mean, it worked out, so.
Just very
But
interesting to see her take that basic attack route, considering how ability-based Dajis can be.
it is.
And Chaos side picks up another sneaky Pyromancer. Unfortunately, Order side is taking. They're losing that lead simply due to a lack of wards. Chaos side is setting up for a sneaky kill right now.
This
X
is
Ball comes in for a peek. They're wrapping around, no wards to peek him out.
we hear the
Donzabur going
demo.
into the ult. Ult comes in. X Ball 3. Ult is off the mark, but the rest of his team is diving in. Geb takes a little bit of damage. Order side responds. Thanatos picks up a kill. Thani in the air. And Thanatos lands on the Hebo, but takes the Hebo ult in response. But the Geb ult, Geb picks up a double kill there. Scream.
Another 3 for 0.
Yeah, I've said it once before and I'll say it again. Scream is one of my favorite supports to watch in the league. He pulls off a big two kills there. Right now, even so, he's not ready to give this up. He's making sure that they secure that T1 tower in mid.
Freya still doesn't have the Iceland ring online, so she cannot follow our targets as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, Freya is just biting her time for the late game right now. Sitting 0-2 in the early game. Behind in levels by 1. I'm sure behind in gold as well. She's just playing this out for the late game. Daji ult just pretty much procs the Nike ult. No harm, no foul on that side. Morgan's going to get out of here, but we see a Thanatos gank from behind. Thani 3s. Gets the damage. Is King Koopa going to be able to turn a kill? And no, he's not.
So we're missing the wards on Koopa. If you warded just a little bit, you would live.
Yeah, unfortunately, the biggest diff I'm seeing in between the two teams right now is just wardage. Chaos side has been able to get away with so many objectives and these free ganks for the Thanatos. They would shut a lot of this down right now with a good ward. Daji comes in, Thanatos in the air on the Hebo, gank into solo lane. Oh, and the juke boots are hot from Hebo. He's able to juke out the ult, but unfortunately he still falls in the end.
So as we get into near 20 minutes, it's already a 6k gold lead. Starting to be a lot.
Yeah, traditionally this game went not the way that me and you had predicted. We had the double carry on the Order side, and we thought that they would be the late game team. They won the early game. Unfortunately, they are not transitioning into this mid game very well. That is a third objective that goes to the Chaos side with no fair response from the Order side. The Donza ult, the Geb ult is out onto this Freya gank. They're not going to give up. They're going to keep running this down. AG's on Freya. Freya makes it to her T2, but there's just far too much with no response.
We've seen some better grouping from Chaos. Danzaburo has been in pretty much every single one of these fights, and Freya's sadly not shown.
Yeah, from the duo lane, Donza is sitting 2-0-4. He has 6 kills out of their 13 kills. That's pretty phenomenal kill participation from a carry going into the mid lane.
It is. And as I mentioned earlier, we see these Geb engagement are really going hard for these team fights. You get some big ults, some big twos, you get some pretty good clans with a shield.
Right now we're watching big team rotation over to the solo lane side. Nike is able to drop that T1, but we have a 4-man response. Right now we're looking at a delayed 4v5. Josh from Asia is the first carry to make it to it. He picks off a first kill. Order side is doing their best to bounce back. They get the Geb about half health. You're seeing those big basic attacks from Night Canter in the back, but Night Canter is getting dove by the Thanatos. Thanatos sitting 8-1 right now, making sure he pushes off that pressure. Freya's coming into this fight late. Let's see what damage she can put in.
And Freya did not go for the ascending ring still.
No, Freya chose to go for the Cyclopean Ring. Unfortunately, Cyclopean Ring's seen a fair amount of buffs in recent times, or nerfs, I'm sorry, in recent times. Geb, even though he's 1 HP, still trying to dive those towers and make sure he can set up for his team. Scream is certainly one of the most interesting supports to watch in the league right now. The 2, 3, and 7 Geb is not a fair reflection to how much he's putting in for this team.
Definitely not. He had a pretty rough early game. He was 0-3, and he started putting up those stats, and now he's 2-7.
So far, how are you thinking this gamble for the mid lane X ball is working out for the Order side?
Not so well, as we can see from that 10k lead right now, and it's a 6 level lead out of mid. It's big.
Yeah, Sinatra's just played his part, played real nice and safe on this Vulcan. He's farmed his way up. It doesn't have the craziest kill involvement as we're concerned. He does throw a large range ult towards the Hebo. Hebo's able to dance out, but still falls to the fantastic work from this Thanatos.
Again, just some better groupment from
Yeah,
Chaos team.
if we see the wards placed right now, unfortunately Sobek big on 9 wards. The rest of his team, you have 1 from the Hebo, 1 from the Nike, 2 from the Freya. X-Ball, you can see he's been ganked a lot. He's got a decent, respectable 6, but you can see the massive ward difference going over to the Chaos side, and
Yeah,
that's why they're able
definitely.
to dominate the neutral zones of this map right now. We see a Fire Giant play from the Chaos side. They have it about a quarter health. The only one in zone right now is Sobek. Sobek gets in, gets a big pluck. Nike's doing her best to get out.
And
But the
Nike's
damage...
is gonna try and not be able to steal it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the whole point of the Nike pick right here is that she's going to be very safe. She blinks, she tries to ult to slow him down from the Freya. Unfortunately, Freya gets ran down. This double ADC from the Order side so far is not paying off. They need to do everything they can to try and bleed over to this late game. Unfortunately, Chaos is not giving them an inch whatsoever in terms of farm. We're seeing level 14 X-Ball. That's pretty significant to the level 19 Vulcan at this time.
Yeah, there's the game is not going well when your mid is under level on the enemy support. That that just shows how dominant this Chaos team has been.
Not just 1 level, 2 levels, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Scream making sure that he's involved in as much as possible. And they're even going to add insult to injury and walk over and steal that catch-up mechanic and keep this cold lead as significant as it is right now. As we
we're
go over to the, I want to point out the Freya build. What are you thinking of this 4 rings that she's going towards right now? You're not traditionally seeing that in the current meta.
I think it's still fine because it's Freya. You get away with it. I like. I think the Telikens one is the only one that kind of doesn't shine right now. But I would have loved to see the Ace Standing one way earlier in that game. It allows Freya to just follow the target and output the max amount of damage that she can actually do with her kit.
Sure, Leanne gives her the ability to be a little more safer than she's been in these plays right now.
Yeah, you can just simply backstab as you other people, and that's still pretty good.
Big Geb blink ult. Geb is able to take out the Freya ult as they back off. Daji ults.
Massive
Daji pulls
Dagio.
2. Oh, and the Thanatos is still ever present. That time they do respond to that Thanatos ult pretty well. Vulcan ult over the wall. Manages to miss everybody. The juke boots on these Hebo are impressive right now. Sobek Flux pulls in the Geb. Geb takes minimal damage. Daji is tanky. She dives in with that 3. Josh from Asia is able to pull off a kill on that Sobek. Josh from Asia ults in. Hits King Koopa. Unfortunately is not able to take the kill on that one. Again, a big play. That's a 2 for 1 and a left bird. But they're not done. They're running down. Daji goes in with the 3. Puts big damage on X-Ball. X-Ball's able to 3 out. They're going to reset, go for this mid. Take this mid Phoenix.
We saw a bit of the value of the Frostbound in that fight. That slow with Daji, I think it's a 3 that proc slow. With the...
We just had a blink in from Hebo. Hebo ults the Vulcan, gets the Vulcan the AGs, but alternate timeline keeps Vulcan in this. Ooh! And Young Sinatra with a big Vulcan ult to delete the Hebo off of the map. X-Ball finally turns around, gets another kill, takes the Vulcan off the map. We're looking at it.
Sobek is gonna try and get his solo on the Josh, but he's gonna drop.
Sobek dives in to just zone him out to hopefully get some reprieve for his team right now.
As we look at the scoreboard, it's getting worse and worse for King Koopa's team.
Well, the saving grace right now is the farm is not going to be too far away from these double carries to try and pick themselves back up in this game, because it's going to start pouring into their Titan room.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely need it. They need the farm right now, because...
Sobek ponders the idea of getting that third Stygian buff, sees the Thanatos walk over and says, no thank you, it's not worth it. So we're going to see the third in a game Stygian buff go to the Chaos side, giving them that additional movement speed, that additional tower damage. So far, this map, I think we called it at the beginning of this game, this is going to be pretty hinged on what this Thanatos does. And this Thanatos has proven to me and you that this is his game, for sure.
As we see him build Rage right now, he's going to be heading pretty hard.
A late game crit item. He's so confident in his ability to pick up these kills. He's going for a stacking item, last item. I love to see it. He's just going further and further down this confidence route.
I mean, he's proven he's capable. He's sitting here with more than half the kill of his team and pretty much all the participation as well.
12, 2, and 4. 16 out of their 22. We're seeing a fight in the middle. Thanatos takes a little bit of damage, but gets Geb shield. Oh, and that Freya late game damage finally comes through. Freya's able to pick up Thanatos. She has to waste her ult to get out from the Geb, but so far it's a 1 for none. And a blink in from the Order side. The Order side's putting on this pressure. They understand that they're pretty far in this game. The only way they're going to take it is by going at him. The Nike dive in. Vulcan is able to 1 out.
We got some
Vulcan dies. Josh from Asia is able to ult out.
We might just see a clear up here from the Dodgy and the Geb, as the Dodgy puts a lot of damage on the Sibo.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal turnaround from the Dodgy from what was looking like a nightmare play for that Chaos side. But she's able to pick up another kill, keep her team pretty in it. Right now we're seeing that late game Freya, like you wanted to see. That haste and ring is finally coming into play. Freya's able to go in, but Dodgy doesn't leave. She comes back in for the re-engage, puts some good damage onto Nike. Josh from Asia picks up 2 kills. Nike dives in, and that's a triple kill for Josh from Asia.
Massive turnaround from the Dodgy right here.
Yeah, they easily could have just walked this back and played it safe. Dodgy said no thank you. Dodgy sitting full health. She didn't even waste her teleport to come back in. She just bided her time in that jungle. Now Titan is reset. Titan is running down the solo lane side. Only going to be X-Ball and Hebo up for this defense. Geb is sitting a little low, but they do have a bomb. Let's see how this defense plays out. The Geb shield onto the Dodgy, who's tanking. And they're going to take their... Ooh, they don't take the bird. Josh from Asia isn't backing out of this fight yet, but Josh from Asia is picked up by the Hebo.
You got the bird, but...
he did get... He went for the sacrifice for the birds, so now that's 3 birds down, a very rare position to come back. Vulcan long range ult off the mark. Danny is in the air. Danny lands right on Hebo, is able to take the kill away. So even though they were able to pick up Josh from Asia and shut down this 8-0 Danzabura, they're definitely turning it around right now as much as possible. Seeing some big plays from this Vulcan for these long Hail Mary ults. Some on the mark, some off the mark, but I'm liking to see the aggression.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of aggression from Chaos team all over the map this whole game.
I'll admit, I was very skeptical of this Thanatos build. I've certainly seen that Golden Blade not pan out in the right way, but it's definitely showing me a lesson right now.
It allows him to farm pretty well, which kept him in this game for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, once he had that Jotuns online, he's been able to dominate ever since. I don't know if we're putting the credit on the Golden Blade or the Jotuns, but since he's been second item, he's certainly turned this game around.
I'll put a credit on the tower diving plays.
Yeah, those blinks have definitely been put into full effect. Josh from Aze's team takes a free fire giant with pretty much no resist. So hey. 2 birds are back up. They're teaming up. They're making sure they get their pyro, they get their bombs. We're going to see a swift reset from Sinatra as this team groups up for hopefully what is the final push of the game.
Sinatra's going to have his alternate timeline back in 50 seconds. It proved right in the first time. Maybe it's gonna be useful again. So we see
Thanatos creeping around that right side is jumped on by Nike, but is able to just walk out. He's just making sure he's still showing face, pushing up those fire waves on that right side, setting up for his team to come in.
as we said early on, if the Tana doesn't go with the blink, he's not gonna have the pressure he wants to, and he went the blink and he was able to pick up quite a few kills from it.
Yeah, the blink not beads play was certainly the tone setter for this Thanatos in this game.
Love to see the confidence.
Ever since he picked up that rage, though, we're seeing a little bit of slowdown. He's only had one stack on that since he pointed it out to me. We're sitting 2 stacks in. He's only sitting at the 15% crit percentage.
We
I'm sure
also
that's more than enough for him.
we also see the Murdering Staff on Vulcan, which was built a start item. That's
Well,
not something you see a lot often.
no, but that certainly explains why he's been throwing these ults out as much as he possibly can, going for these big play. We've seen a few of them be successful. So right now we have a split Thanatos versus Freya in the duo lane. Geb blinks in another for the Geb blink ult play again. Thanatos goes up in the air, lands on the Freya, just gets some health. Freya ult down. Freya trying to ult back to base. The Thanatos blink in, and a big 3 from the Vulcan to shut both of them down.
And this
We're
is
looking
gonna
at
be
this
game.
defense. Yeah.
We see the blink from Thanatos, which again proved right.
Yeah, unfortunately that late game gamble of the double ADC build for the order side didn't pay off in the end. They weren't able to get there.
I mean,
Freya's still sitting an item down. She does have the Gem of Focus finished, but unfortunately the X-Ball not even finishing his starter item yet. The gold just seemed to bury them. Josh from Asia's team taking the dub here. This big 9-1 play from the Danzabura. This 13-3 from the Thanatos. Some real heavy hitters over on that KS side.
as
How'd you
soon
like
as
this game, Tiki?
I mean, it was pretty slow at the start. We saw Arthur kind of taking the lead, and then as soon as this Denzaburo picked up Griffin Wing, he started being really aggressive on the Freya, not allowing him any space, any farm. Thanatos kind of picked on the tone and started kind of snowballing into that late game.
Yeah, if
Meanwhile,
Thanatos made
Sinatra.
sure that if he ever caught Hebo in the jungle, he was making him pay for it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we had Sinatra just bombing people and getting all the farm that was around the map, as he was pretty massive compared to that Night Enter Shibalanke.
Yeah, Sinatra was originally pegged to play in the lower tier matches, said no thank you, I want these high tier matches. Showed up to play with the top damage Vulcan, big ults from across, and a big meatball to finish that game out. Well, I've been SunriseSamuraii. This has been Tiki. Big thanks to our caster, Wolfie.